Hey, hello everyone and welcome to Extreme Graphics Tech. Today I want to just make a commented gameplay of the Resident Evil 4 demo. We are going to have a full analysis when it comes out, but at the moment I just wanted to check how the game plays and feel. As you saw, I'm playing at 4K with everything maxed out, including ray tracing, without FSR or any sort of reconstruction technique on the RTX 4090. And I have to say, I always been a fan of the RE engine, and I think on every new game this engine is used, Capcom gets better and better and better because games runs better, looks better. Honestly, it's one of the best engine out there. Maybe the only criticism I have is that there is little in terms of physics, and I don't know if this is a limitation of the engine or it's just Capcom thinking, well, we don't need to add physics because it doesn't add anything to the gameplay, which is true, but sometimes having such beautiful graphics and not being able to interact with basically anything, it looks a little bit weird. However, I have to say that I played the original Resident Evil 4 on GameCube when it came out. It was an amazing game, and also played the Wii version. After that, I have not played the game again. So now here we are starting to see the real-time graphics on that. And as you can see, the hair is, there is an option to have strains or to have it, I guess, as a whole, you know, like that, those sort of hairs that is just one polygonal thing. But here it seems to be strains. Each hair is a strain, so I guess it requires more power. Now, since this is the only gameplay that I did, I have not played this before. This was just this morning. I put the game and recorded. That's it. So I wanted to just see as much as the game, see the graphics and everything. So you are going to see me not knowing what is going to happen, because even though I play this game, it's a little bit different on certain areas and I don't remember everything about it. Now you can see the graphics starting here. It looks amazing. Yeah, on the first look, you already know this game is going to be special, at least in terms of technological graphic, because it looks really, really good. You can see here how everything is so creating this atmosphere. You can see the fog. You can see the light coming through the trees. It's honestly really good looking, and you can see the water there reflecting everything. And I think this is a better reflection that they have done in the past with the previous games, because it looks a lot more stable, especially on the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake when they added the racing patch. I don't know, it kind of looked weird. There wasn't very good quality on it, so it was a little bit strange the way it was implemented. Another thing is, you can see here that I have to change the button layout for the game, because it was just showing the what I believe was maybe the GameCube buttons or the PlayStation buttons, but it was not the Xbox buttons that I was using, which is kind of weird if you ask me. And the reason I thought of that was because this happened to me on Wulong on the analysis, and somebody told me that you had to go to the settings and change that, which is a thing that I had never seen before. So I don't know if this is becoming a thing or it's just because of the demo. Talking about the physics that I was saying before, you see that's one of those objects you can interact to and move it, but they are very far in between. Like they put one there, so you see there are objects you can interact with or move to give more believability. Oh, I can't say that word. It's a little bit hard for me to pronounce. So, but yeah, it's just one thing that you can do, not too much, at least on this demo. So yeah, it looks weird. Anyway, talking about the graphical tech, you can see here this game is running fantastic. We are over 100 frames at all times, or most of the times, even though at the end I have to say I don't know why the game went down to like 60 FPS, which is weird, but that's at the very end of this video, and you will see. However, for the rest of the game, we're playing at more than 100 FPS. This area here, you can see it looks phenomenal. It looks like a movie. The way the image is set, how the light comes through the window, and then when we get to this room, the textures, the geometry density, there is objects everywhere. the construction of the house, the sheets, the bed, everything is so well done, and the light is so good. Even though there are lots of fake lightning in the bait lightning, there is a lot of real-time shadows and lightning too. And you're going to see here, you can see the shadow that Leon is projecting on the walls from that only source of light. But when we get to the part where I have the flashlight, sorry, I went blank there for a second looking for the word for the flashlight. You are going to see more lights being projected for different objects from the flashlight, which looks really good. Well, here you can see it's more evident. I was a little bit lost here trying to look for an exit. So I don't remember if the layout of this house is the same on the GameCube version of the game, but I was here a little. Where is it? How do I get out? I don't remember. It was an easy find then, but yeah, at the beginning I was a little bit lost here. Then, oh, okay, he's here at the end. Okay, let's go. So you can see here the objects, the geometry, the density of it. There is a lot of different geometry in this game that makes the game look so rich, and everything is interacting quite good. I think maybe I'm missing a little bit of ambient occlusion on some objects, so they look a little bit floaty, but it's not a big deal. You can see here one thing I like a lot is the texturization. And look at this light here. It's so good. You see how it penetrates on the metal thing on the left, and it kind of gives this mood to the game. I have to say, Capcom is a master of his craft, creating this ambience with the playing with lights and objects. It's really good, because now here they are always placing something that will give the mood, and the only light source in this scene is that fire, and it's very intense close to the fire, which is not quite real, because that's not exactly how fire should illuminate. We know it's not, but it's still, you know, it gives a very nice look. I was thinking, if they added like ray tracing to this game, it would look phenomenal, like ray tracing global illumination, because there are many nooks and crannies where light don't penetrate the way it's built at the moment. And so, but I think if this game had like ray tracing global illumination, here is only used for reflections. If I don't remember wrong, in the Resident Evil Village they used it for shadows too, which I think it will have been good on this game to add also ray tracing. So maybe to the final product we'll have, I don't know. One thing the game doesn't support, at least on the demo, is DLSS. It's only FSR, so yeah, things could change, and hopefully they do. Here we're seeing Capcom adding those very nasty things that, you know, put you in the mood, and it's creepy, it's disgusting, and put you exactly where they want you to be in terms of feelings. Okay, so now I'm trying to look for an exit again after this, and so we go here, we use the key that we just got. And now here's what I'm saying about the flashlight. Look how the flashlight generates shadows for the many objects that are there. You see, these objects are, you know, just generating shadows, and that looks quite good, quite believable. I like that. And also the flashlight cone of light looks very good. Sometimes they add flashlight that all it does is create like a cone of light or something that is brighter than the rest, but this one looks quite good. So that's why, you know, when you get close, when you get far, and the metallic bounce of the light, everything looks quite good while using it. So you see the mood they create with those particles, the lightning. Wow, this is a very good looking game. The subsurface scattering you can see on the skin of the characters is really adds to the believability. I will never be able to say that word, it seems. So everything that is shown on a screen. Also, the vegetation you can get, it does move with you. Here I was checking that it was so I was making sure that I was recording, because I couldn't see the icon. So I was like, okay, is this thing recording or not? I wasn't sure. And I'm recording with the same NVIDIA G4 experience, and you can see that even when you lose some FPS, it's still quite high. You can see at the moment we have an average of 125 FPS according to Afterburner. So yeah, that's quite good. We're talking 4K without even FSR included.
No fucking way.
So this was my first like real encounter, and I have to say probably would have been better to play with mouse, because it's always a little bit hard for me to point on Resident Evil games with the gamepad, and I think that's by design. You know, it's not very super easy, and it's to make things more complicated. But well, at the end I was able to kill it with my trusty knife. Fortunately for you and for everyone watching this video, I was able to pass this demo on the first try, which is the one you're seeing now. So you know that this is not going to be like me dying many times and trying again. So don't worry, this is only going to be one gameplay and that's it. Here I got a little bit scared, so I was looking in other areas. But because this is not about me explaining the gameplay, because you can see it, it's me talking about how good this game looks. So can you see the fire should creep a little bit more, like should flicker more, and it doesn't happen. That one it looks good, but it's not that great. Here I'm not quite sure from where this line is coming. So you see that there is a lot of what I'm trying to say here is that they use a lot of fake lightning, baked lightning, to give the mood they want to the game, and it looks great, but it's not necessarily realistic. So I think ray tracing global illumination will add that extra, no, that light coming from different sources or going through nooks and crannies, you know, those are small spaces in different areas of the game that will allow for the game to look even more believable in the way they're trying to portray the lights. I think will look phenomenal, especially because there are some areas when you get to the town where you are like in this little shack, this little house made of wood, where there is a lot of, like, you know, spaces between the woods, but the light from outside is not like filtering through that. So I think they fake that and it looks okay, but I think it will look more dramatic and beautiful if they allow for that light to actually creep from those spaces, if they were using ray tracing global illumination. However, as you can see, I was a little bit lost, like, okay, where I'm supposed to go now? Oh, okay, maybe it's the other side. So we keep going. One thing that you can see is how every single light affects Leon, no, and his hair and everything. So that's also very good. Yeah, there is no object, there is more candles. Okay, let's keep going. One funny thing about this, as you're going to see it so far, is being like night. Everything has been night, and we know is you know, the lightning has been kind of gray bluish, sort of dark, because well, it's night, so it looks like that.
This is Condor 1.
However, when this scene ends, and you can see now in this sort of a scene, we are going at the maximum my monitor is capable, and that's why I limited to 144. We could have probably like higher, but I normally don't see the need to have more FPS than my monitor can display. So I limited to 144, and you can see sometimes we get there. So the average is 124 at the moment. Look at this. This is quite beautiful. He breaks that door, and how that lights and that effect. I don't remember the name right now. March rays come through the door like beautiful. So this is what I mean. So up to this point, oh well, it's not this one. It's a little bit further ahead. You're going to see this is night illumination, right? So you're going to see here what I mean. So it's bluish grayish, like, because it's night and it's supposed to be getting, you know, the morning. So it's weird because at some point the game changes illumination completely, because now it's more like morning, and the whole mood of the game changes completely. But what I'm thinking, if I go back, will it go back to being night? Because I don't know if the light is changing in real time, or is going to keep the morning light. You're going to see what I mean in a little bit, because this is clearly like 5-6 in the morning light, or that's what they're trying to convey, or I understand, because otherwise shouldn't change so drastically today if it was so far like 12 or 1 a.m. in the morning. Okay, so now we have some handgun ammo. I was needing it. So you see, there is a lot of geometry density. Look at those bricks and the house and the water and everything. There is so much going on, and the game still looks and feels incredible. I could not save in this one. You did those little details I was saying. Even though the lighting is good at everything, those lights and that typewriter should be casting shadow, but I don't see the shadow. Or I couldn't see one on there. Should be a bigger shadow being cast to the walls or something like that. So those are the little details that we're still missing from video games that only ray tracing can give for developers, because otherwise they will have to fake everything, and sometimes it's not that easy to keep every detail in count. So you see, now we're basically day. You see, they use that little house as a transition point. So I thought this when I was looking at the gameplay for the second time. When I was recording the Spanish version, I realized that changed, but so I didn't check while I was playing if that's the case, that if I go back I will have the light, the day illumination or the night one. It's an interesting change, as you can see. Anyway, I keep saying, look at all the details. So look at all that ceiling. I wonder how many of these things are only used once throughout the game. For example, that car looks really beautiful, and it's something that you are just going to see probably once and never more. It's covered by the vegetation and the rust, and the colors are fading. It's so well made that I loved it. Okay, this one I was able to get at the first hit. There is another one around. I'm going to destroy him. So this one here, well, okay, this is yeah, we call. Let me keep going. I want to show the demo. I assure you we're more than halfway through it. It's only like 28 minutes, so bear with me. There is a lot of other nice things to look, and my only criticism so far of the game is going to be more evident when we get to a certain point, because the game makes a great job of hiding LODs and draw distances. However, there is a point where it was extremely evident, and I wish there was a way to not have that, because I don't think it's a performance issue with the showing that I have a 49 and more than 100 frames per second. I could easily, even if it costs me 20 FPS, I will do it just to not have that LOD so close. I can prove this was my first gameplay, because when I got here I didn't realize that there was somebody lurking, and yay, they put their hatch in my shoulder. And take that. So this is one of the things I was saying. You see, this house is obviously it's made of wood, and there is a lot of spaces in between. So, but you don't see the light creeping through it. You see, there is like the light that's overpowering is the one they put inside, and probably the reason they put that light inside is because the global illumination they're using is not getting into the house. So this was going to be a very dark place. I think if they use global illumination for ray tracing global illumination, then the light from the outside will creep in better and will make this look completely different. It's not like there is no completely, but you see from the left here, obviously on the front you can see because of the door some light going in, but not from the other parts of the geometry. However, as you can see, it's very dense. It's so beautiful, guys. This game is really beautiful. Look at all the geometry, the stones, the vegetation. It's wow, I love this engine. It's I know I'm criticizing some things like the lighting. It's not a critique, it's more me wondering how things will look and where we're going with this, because I think this looks phenomenal. It's really beautiful. So I wish Capcom were using this engine to do other types of game, different kind of game. I know Dragon's Dogma is going to use this engine, so I'm wondering how they're going to manage the open world of that game with this, because maybe it's going to be some sort of Monster Hunter Rise. This is a very creepy scene, by the way. sort of Monster Hunter Rise, like hops, so it's not completely open. But because I want to see like a fantasy setting, maybe with this engine, more medieval magic and stuff going on. I think it's going to look really, really good. This next part here, I'm not going to be talking as much. Look here, that you see that those rocks in the middle. Sorry, you see those rocks in the middle. Yeah, those are LOD. That is clearly evident too much, and there is like 3 steps: the original, second, and then another one. You see the third one that just appeared. It's just extremely evident, and that really. I despise LODs or draw distances. It's something that takes me out of the experience, seeing something transform in front of my eyes. That should not. It's not like a magic thing or something. It's rocks that are there that are changing shape and form in front of my eyes, and I really dislike that. And I wish they gave you an option to just not make it happen if you have the hardware for it. But oh well, it's a little criticism of, because the game looks so good that those things really distract you. At least me. So yeah, those are the only things I will be saying that I don't like, but for the rest it looks so great. So I was saying that imagine the Dragon's Dogma 2 with this the engine and magic and all sort of particles and thing going on. I can't wait for that game to come out. I want just to see how it looks, and I hope it's also is good. I really like the first one, and I think Capcom is doing a phenomenal job with these remakes. Even though many people complained that maybe Resident Evil 4 didn't need one, and I agree that maybe didn't need one because the original is still playable on many systems and it was enhanced many times, but this is a complete overhaul. I do agree that probably Resident Evil Code Veronica needed more. Well, it does need more of an overhaul than Resident Evil 4, but I'm not sure why Capcom is just not working on Resident Evil Code Veronica. Now the question is, are they going to be making the Code Veronica next, or are they going for the 5th one? Because the 5th one, I think it still looks quite good, all things considered. It was on a newer generation of consoles, so what are they going to do? Well, the original Resident Evil Code Veronica was on the Dreamcast, even though it had a port in for PlayStation 2 with some added content. But I think that games deserve, and the graphical overhaul will be massive. The jump of that one is going to be one of the biggest one probably. Well, Resident Evil 2 and 3 evidently were even a bigger overhaul. But the thing is that I think that because Code Veronica is 3D, then there is an advantage there where they can replicate more things better, because with Resident Evil 2 and 3 the gameplay changed and they eliminated a lot of things that were in the original game. So I think they can do a very good job with Code Veronica.
Here we go.
I'm going to leave this round for a little bit, so you see me desperate trying to run from everyone, okay? I'm going to make a comment just on a couple of places, and yeah, this basically almost the end of the video.
Give me a break already.
here you can see how the textures appears. It's like a little bit of popping, and I'm not quite sure what that is caused. It's running for an SSD, a very fast one. By the way, he looks much more creepier now. I'm not quite sure why it takes a little bit of time to load. It has been the only place I have been able to notice that. I don't know if it happened before, but yeah, that's a little bit weird, all things considered, if you ask me. The effect of the flash bomb, it looks quite nice. It looks very powerful. It's just the only thing I didn't like is the way it like fades out very quickly. But I guess, well, it's light, so it's supposed to. It's not supposed like to stain or or remain there, right? So what I was saying about the ray tracing and the light creeping into the houses, it's more evident here in the town because many of the houses we got in were like made of wood with lots of, you know, spaces between them, and so you can see that the light doesn't really penetrate or create this ambience that you will normally expect. And also you can see here everywhere like the rocks in the floor just appearing or changing a quality on the fly, which is an effect that I don't really like. I really despise that. Okay, I was going to escape from the window, but I think I better risk it with this. So I think so, but I'm not 100% sure if the water is using ray trace reflection. I think it is, but I'm not quite sure because it looks a little bit strange. If it's using ray tracing, at least it's very clean, which it was on the previous games. But I'm not 100% sure that the setup just show you that water body uses ray tracing, so probably it is. Well, this is basically the end of the demo. Here finally we get to the saving bell that calls everyone and allows you to breathe. So you see here, is this ray tracing? I think this part here specifically is not, just because if you don't have ray tracing active, then you won't get the effect that they are trying to convey with that a particular shot. So probably that specific shot is not, just because everybody has to have the same experience and they wanted to show that, you know, Leon is there or the enemy is there. So who knows? Let's see what when the final games comes out and we do some tests on non-ray tracing cards. But anyway, can you see the quality of every element of the game, the scenery, the characters, everything looks so really good that I'm just blown away by the looks of the game. Look at that view, it's amazing. Here I'm missing like some ambient occlusion maybe. It looks a little bit floaty, and that's why maybe those little things are difficult to recreate with ambient occlusion, and that's why you need ray tracing ambient occlusion for those. And here is what the part where I was saying that you get around 60 FPS. It goes really low. I don't know if it's because of the view or something, but well, this was a Resident Evil 4 demo for all of you guys. Hope you liked it and enjoyed it. See you next time.